Hey everyone, how are you? We are just going to quickly look into a question that I sent out to the advocates, and that was the use of smarts and how we use smarts, and with new types of boards arriving and working from home and just having stylus use, either it's on your laptop or whether it is on your iPad. We're going to just quickly look at the different styles using a notebook file and using it on different devices, and just seeing how quick things are able to be edited, able to be shared, and how easy it is to use across different platforms, whether it's in PowerPoint, Slides, Google Classroom, and the like. So I'm going to quickly just go into my drive here, and in my drive what I've done is take a simple notebook which is called Master Entry 1, Entry Task 1, and I converted it into from a notebook and put it into a PowerPoint, and that's relatively simple. One of the key questions, one of the key pieces of feedback was that we wanted to keep our drawings and writings and annotations on the pages, and that's fine. I totally understand. There are also other things such as rulers and shapes and all those kinds of things. However, one of the pieces of advice that I got was we want to share. If we want to change using smarts and exchange them into and convert them into something else, they need to be shareable. They need to be able to be collaborated on. So I'm going to quickly show you how that works as well. So here I've taken a smart notebook and I've turned it into a PowerPoint. Some of the formatting changes because of Comic Sans and things like that, but we can see that it is pretty much universal across the way that it works here. And one of the things that I've noticed is that shapes tend to change. One of those key things is if I go and take I'm using a stylus here, so I'll have to go and keep switching around, is this. So this writing that I've got here, when I'm moving this oval, when I've got this annotation, one of the key features is that students are able to replay this, or you are able to replay that. When you're in the draw section at the top, we can hit the replay, and it keeps it as a simple animation. So any piece of drawing, any pieces of the annotations and drawings that you've got in here in your notebook is automatically kept in here. Now it is black here, but it was blue, and I've just changed it so that I can rewrite it, because you're going to use this annotation again in another lesson, no doubt. All these shapes are movable. You can add bits and pieces to them. What I noticed was that when I've got a right-click menu in Notebook, it isn't as universally adopted as it is in, say, Office. When I go to right-click in here, I get the usual drop-down menu that I would expect from, say, Word or PowerPoint or any other Microsoft application. I can move these things through the layers, I can add more layers, I can put things on top, or I can keep changing the style. Let's say this one's done and I have them in my palette, my easily usable palette. I know that this one's being done. I've also got very quick keyboard shortcuts that I'm used to. They don't always transfer over into from Notebook to PowerPoint. One of the key things as well is that within PowerPoint, and you go to export, you've got different file types that you can change this into. So if you want to share this with your students and just have a slideshow, then you're able to do that by going into these slideshows, and they bring all the slides together. But also you can change them into PNGs and JPGs. Now we can do that to a certain extent in here, and we've got image files and PowerPoint and what have you. However, as a number of the advocates were saying to me, was that I'm not able to go and bring this to my students, I'm not able to use this on another device. And one of the key bugbears from a couple of the advocates was that when their computer had gone awry, they were unable to use this Smarts because they didn't have the key. You can see that this is a basic version. You can see the watermark on here. When you've got this as a PowerPoint, PowerPoint is universal. The PPT file type is universal across everything. And let's go and have a look into Classroom here. So when I've got this into my drive, and I bring this into my Google Drive, it keeps the same format. I've got this shareable function that I can go and put across my classes because my classes know who this is for. So then in my classes I've got set students. So when I make a resource like this, my class, I've got the master entry PowerPoint here as a Google slide, and I've got one for each and every student, so when it goes out to the class it's automatically named and they can go to each slide. But it's not always something that you want within the classroom. Lots of classes tend to use Jamboard, and so here when you take the images as say a PNG and you want that see-through background, for example, the files are kept as images, and you're able to put the images directly into your Jamboards, and the slides that you want for your Jamboard are here ready for your students to collaborate directly into. So with that in mind, one of the things that came up from the advocates as well was that how am I able to go and use rulers? Rulers is quite a big deal. So when I've got my ruler in here, I can start to use my ruler. Let's go and use it on this one here. So these are my other settings. Into this page here, I can use this ruler to go and draw directly into this with the protractor in the middle. Now, unfortunately, I don't have finger touch on here, but I do have touch on an iPad. So what I can do is just show you the speed at which the iPad. Here I've got my iPad. I'm going to go to, let's just bring this to one side for a second. There we go. So I've got the iPad on the left, and which is where my face is, and I've got the same slide on the desktop. So I'm going to go and draw this, and you'll see this start to move on my iPad. So this is my iPad moving, and you'll see that if I'm using my school iPad with PowerPoint, here I've got PowerPoint and I've opened up the same file from the same location, it works exactly the same as Google Slides, except you have drawing. You are able to draw directly into it and maintain those annotations. So if I just go and draw in here, you'll see that on the right hand side, it's barely noticeable anymore, or imperceptible. The ruler itself is moving, and then when I go and annotate it, my drawing with a finger, let me go and put my pen on there, make sure it's working. Let's go and put it into a different colour. So I draw it, and a moment later it's as fast as Google Slides or Google Docs. So if you are able to use this, you're able to go and put your iPad into Air Server, which is what I'm using right now, and while sharing your screen, you're able to share your screen directly into Teams via screen sharing using Air Server, because your Air Server will come up as a window like this that you're able to go and share directly into Teams. Lots of people are already asking about the pencils and your styluses on your laptops. These are pretty much indispensable right now when you want to be able to use the full classroom tools from Notebook, but you have the option to use any device in any setting, and using annotation. If I just do one last thing in here, just show you Office. If I go into office.com What you're able to do is go into this file straight away. You'll notice that all my files are here, and it's kept up to date online. Now I've got PowerPoint in my browser, which I'm using in Edge. While this is here, you can see that all the annotations and everything, who's actually in these slides. But I'm able to go and present, and I'm able to go and present live. Now it will take a second for it to, I can see it just loading at the top here. But I'm able to present live. I close my PowerPoint for a second and come out of it. Which means that when I go and present live like this, I give my class a QR code or a short URL. And while I'm presenting, and the students are all in this presentation, I can use it in exactly the same way as Nearpod, which means that all the students are with you on the same page, which is incredibly powerful when you want to get students to take notes and then add to a discussion later, or slide by slide. You can have audio running at the same time. So, I thought I'd give you a quick update as to what is happening in with the advocates, and also these kinds of tips and tricks are going to be part and parcel of the up and coming MIE accreditation that I'm running for this year as well. I hope that is helpful in helping you out with understanding how to use multiple devices, and as well as bringing those frustrations that you have with Notebook and Smart Notebook into some creative solutions with Office and PowerPoint. Thank you very much.